Hello, 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 my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of Terror Radio Podcast. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. This is a podcast dedicated in bringing you the best of horror and thriller, old time radio broadcasts, as well as original stories. I'm your host, Keith, aka the Radio Show Nerd, and tonight's episode is entitled Lethal Creations. Hmm. So, without further ado, this is Terror Radio. The two radio series highlighted tonight are The Shadow, followed by CBS Radio Mystery Theater. Our first radio play is called The Gibberish Things, and this was first broadcasted on The Shadow, September 26, 1943. Following that is the radio play The Horror of Dead Lake, and this was first broadcasted on CBS Radio Mystery Theater, February 9th, 1976. Now, you all know the drill. Sit back, turn down the lights, and listen to The Gibberish Things, followed by The Horror of Dead Lake.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Once again, your neighborhood blue coal dealer brings you the thrilling adventures of The Shadow, the hard and relentless fight of one man against the forces of evil. These dramatizations are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay. Friends, here's a very important way that you can help the war effort. You know, it's coal that keeps our war plants humming, coal that keeps our trains moving, coal that heats our soldiers in army camps. Yes, coal that supplies vital power and heat to countless wartime activities. So you can make an invaluable contribution to the war effort this winter by cutting your coal consumption to the absolute minimum. Start your personal coal conservation program this simple way. Hold your fire. Don't let the first chilly snap send you down to the furnace. Use the fireplace. Wear warmer clothing. Wait 2 or 3 weeks later than usual before starting your furnace. The coal you save now will help the home front and the war front, and it will help you keep warmer in the really bitter months to come. The Shadow, mysterious character who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. Several years ago in the Orient, Cranston learned a strange and mysterious secret: the hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so that they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible shadow belongs. Today's drama, The Gibbering Things.
Well, nature puts on quite an autumn show up here, Margot.
Yes, doesn't it, Lamont?
Yeah. All New Hampshire's pretty country at any season, folks.
Are we nearly at our destination, driver?
Almost. About 1.5 miles more, and we'll be at the Haunted Woods.
Huh?
Haunted woods.
Yes, sir. Place you've hired me to drive you to is just this side of them.
Oh, Aunt Susan never told me that she lived near any haunted woods, Lamont.
Miss Susan Prentice, your aunt, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Cranston and I are going to spend the weekend with her.
Oh, that'll be a fine rest for you.
Well, those haunted woods don't sound quiet or restful.
Well, they won't bother you none. Leastwise, I've never been bothered in them. Neither was your aunt or Professor Surgoff. who lives smack in the center of them.
Why are they called the Haunted Woods?
Well, it's said that quite a few fellas have gone into them woods and completely disappeared. There was 2 lumberjacks and 4 or 5 harvest hands. Shucks, I figure they simply walked into the woods on one side and out the other.
Your logic is spoiling a nice mystery, driver.
Oh, I figured a natural explanation for the gibbering things, too.
The gibbering thing.
Ever so often, the doggondest noise is heard from them woods. A funny, squeaking, chattering kind of noise. Don't sound like it was made by either man or beast. The folks say it's made by things.
You figured that it's not made by things?
Mister, that gibbering noise is made by monkeys.
Monkeys?
In New Hampshire?
Yeah, Professor Surgoff's got a couple at his place that he's brought up from South America. I admit I don't know how their squeaky little voices can be heard so far away from the professor's house, but them monkeys is the only natural explanation.
Are those the haunted woods ahead of us now?
Yes, ma'am. That's them.
Heavens,
What's that?
something screamed in those woods.
Yes, that was just an old screech owl. There it is again.
Well, screech owls don't make their home this far north. They must have been brought up here like the monkeys you mentioned.
That's right. Another pet of Professor Surgoff. Here's Miss Prentice's place.
Oh, Lamont, what a lovely little house.
I'll get your luggage out the back.
Here, let me help you, Margot.
Thank you.
Step directly on these flagstones. Ground's pretty wet.
Well, we had some thunderstorm today. Started early this morning and pulled down telephone wires and raised all kinds of nests.
That's all?
Yes. Why, I'd like to wait and say howdy to Miss Prentice, but as long as I'm out this way, I want to drop off a package at Professor Surgoff. Getting late, and I'd like to be in and out of them woods before dark.
Not because of the gibbering things.
Well, shucks, no. Just that the road through there is pretty terrible. A fellow wants daylight to get over it. I'll stop off on my way back from the professor's, see if your aunt wants anything fetched from the village, my next trip. So long.
So long.
You never told me your aunt was deaf, Margot.
Deaf? Well, she isn't.
Well, she can't be at home then after this noisy arrival in front of the door.
But it is funny that she hasn't... Aunt Susan! Aunt Sue!
Are you sure she expected us today?
Oh, of course. Oh, the door's unlocked. Let's go in, Lamont. She must have stepped out for a moment.
For a long moment. Let's have a look around. You take a peek at the kitchen.
All right.
Everything here's tidy, shipshape, and deserted.
Well, the kitchen door's been left unlocked.
Well, evidently your aunt didn't intend to be gone very long.
Well, what do you suppose has happened to her?
Oh, chances are your aunt left here this morning to pay a brief call to some neighbors, and she was forced to stay there by the storm.
I was beginning to think Aunt Sue had been swallowed by those gibbering things in the haunted woods.
We have Mr. Dorema's assurance those gibbering things are vastly overrated.
What's that?
Now, listen.
It's the gibbering from those woods.
It's from deep in the woods. Doesn't sound like the chattering of any monkey that I've ever heard.
Lamont! That be the screech owl again?
That cry sounded human.
It's like a scream of mortal terror. Lamont, we've been waiting almost half an hour now for Aunt Sue. She'd be here by this time if she were all right.
Phone's still dead. The cab driver hasn't come back yet, and it's nearly dark. Let's go outside again and watch for him.
All right. He said he wanted to be out of those woods before dark. Come on, that gibbering again.
It's much closer than before.
Seems to come from just the edge of those woods.
And the professor who keeps monkeys lives nearly a mile from here.
It's growing fainter now. Traveling away.
Margot, look here.
What?
In the earth of this flower bed.
Tiny footprints. Well, they've been made by a barefoot child, a baby. Since the rain. How did the baby get out here?
These prints were made since I was looking around this garden only a few minutes ago. And their sole resemblance to a baby's is their size. Look closer. No child could walk upright on feet that left these impressions. They're deformed.
Yes, I see now.
So whatever made the footprints didn't walk upright very far. Here, it dropped on all fours.
Those are prints of little hands. But only 2 fingers are outlined. And what horrible thumbs. These tracks were left by some animal.
But what kind of an animal? I never saw a spoor like this before.
Oh, neither have I. Look, they disappear here in the grass.
Margot, someone's coming out of the woods.
A man. What's he got on his head? Getting so dark I can hardly see.
I think it's a helmet of some sort. He's carrying a net.
A net?
It looks like it. Seems to be hunting for something. Hello there.
Hello. Who are you?
We're about to ask the same question.
My name is Sergov. Alexander Sergov.
Lamont, he may know. I'm Margot Lane, Miss Prentice's niece, Professor.
The president's niece.
Yes, and this is Mr. Cranston. We just arrived to spend a few days with Aunt Susan, and she's not here.
I have not seen Miss Prentice for several days. Was she expecting you and Mr. Cranston?
Yes, she was.
Professor, if I'm not too inquisitive, what do you hunt with a net at this time of night?
I keep a small zoological collection, Mr. Cranston, and one of my little animals escaped this afternoon, and I was searching for it with my net.
A dangerous animal? I see you're wearing heavy gloves.
It was a small ape with sharp little teeth that can, what you call, nip very painfully. Perhaps you heard it chattering in the woods a while ago.
We heard something gibbering in there.
That was my little pet.
Is it malformed hands and feet, Professor? Does it leave tracks like this?
You did not see it leave those tracks?
No, we found them by accident a few minutes ago.
The creature I'm searching for is not a perfect specimen. These tracks are fresh, which means that it is close by, and I'm most anxious to recapture it, so if you will please excuse me. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Well, at least we've learned what's behind those footprints and that gibbering.
I'm still wondering if that was a screech owl we heard soon after Doremus left us.
What for, Lamont?
I'm going to get a gun and flashlight out of my bag and do a little hunting of my own in these woods.
But...
where's the light switch?
Here.
Oh, thanks.
Lamont, the gibbering again.
It's just outside the house.
You know it's only a crippled ape that...
Margot, what?
The face at the window.
Where?
Gone now. But it was pressed close against the glass. It had no features, Lamont, except eyes, and a toothless mouth. It was the face of the gibbering thing. Lamont, turn your flashlight on those trees as well as on the road. That gibbering thing may be in these woods.
As I'm watching, Margot. There's only one set of tire tracks in this road, so Doremus traveled it only one way. You sure, Margot, that the face of the window had no features?
It was just pink, bald flesh with tiny pig-like eyes and grinning, toothless gums. What could it have been?
If you weren't having a nightmare, I don't know. Good Lord, look there.
Doremus' cab turned on its side.
Come on.
There's Doremus. Oh.
He's been thrown from his cab against that rock.
His head's all crushed. Oh, Lamont.
Strange. There's no blood around the wound.
No blood.
Someone or something has washed it absolutely clean. Look at its throat. A big bruise mark.
His fall from the cab didn't do that.
No. Looks as though some terrific suction had been applied by something like a giant leech.
That thing with the toothless mouth. Lamont, you've got to find out what that gibbering monster is. It may have killed Aunt Sue as well as Doremus.
Come on back to your aunt's house. After I see you locked safely inside, Professor Sergov is going to receive a visit from the Shadow.
Why are you so worried, Professor?
What? Who is speaking to me? I cannot see anyone.
I'm the Shadow.
The Shadow? An invisible man?
A little secret I learned in the Orient.
What do you want here?
I shall ask the questions. First, did you find the small ape you were hunting for?
You know that I was hunting...
The Shadow overheard your conversation with a Miss Lane and a Mr. Cranston a while ago. Did you find the ape?
Yes.
What did you do with it? I visited the cages where you keep your pets and found no crippled monkey there.
I was forced to shoot the animal. I buried it in the woods.
After it had gorged itself on the blood of Doremus?
Doremus?
You didn't know he was lying dead in the woods?
No, I swear I did not, Shadow. I had nothing to do with
But
it.
you know what killed him?
No.
Don't lie. You also know the reason for Susan Prentice's disappearance.
I do not.
Her absence will cause an intensive search.
She will not be found here. This is a small house. Nothing could be concealed in it. Search it yourself.
Luck has been with you so far, Professor. If telephone service hadn't been disrupted by the storm, the authorities would already have been notified and a search begun. The luck of criminals is never good for long. Your time is running out. The police will find the body of Doremus, and they'll be told about a squealing monster with a horrible toothless mouth.
What?
The gibbering thing has been seen tonight. Now you must think and act fast, Professor. You must think and act faster than The Shadow.
Friends, if you heat your home with coal, listen. Here's some important good news. Your friendly neighborhood blue coal dealer is happy to announce that he already has available, on a first-come, first-served basis, a small supply of automatic heat regulators to aid in the urgent coal conservation program. Now listen to what an automatic heat regulator does. It takes full charge of your furnace operation, giving you a constant, even temperature day and night. It eliminates those wide swings in temperature when it's always too hot or too cold. It saves you those incessant trips to the basement when you try to control the temperature yourself. It helps protect your family against winter colds, which many doctors agree result from overheating or unstable temperature. And most important, it saves coal vital to the war effort and money for you. An automatic heat regulator costs little to begin with and soon pays for itself in fuel savings. Don't wait for the first freeze. There are just a few automatic heat regulators available, so act now. Call your friendly blue coal dealer and place your order tomorrow. And now, back to the Shadow.
Lamont, did Professor Seargold tell you anything when you visited him as a Shadow?
I didn't expect him to, Margot. The Shadow's purpose was to force Sergoff into some revealing action. I'm confident that he'll make that action before morning, but I'm taking no chances. I'm going to leave you again now and go back into those woods.
Why?
Professor Sergoff doesn't confine his activities within the limits of his small home. I'm going to discover, if I can, where he carries on his major studies.
Let me go with you,
No,
Lamont.
I want you to stay here. Lock yourself in the house and don't leave it. I expect to be gone for some time.
Oh. I expect to be gone for some time. Fine. It's a screech owl. What's that? Back door. Who's there? What do you...
Good evening, Miss Lane.
Professor Seargold.
When one locks a glass panel door, the key should never be left in the lock. It is so easy to break the glass, reach inside, and turn the key.
Why have you broken in here?
I just saw Mr. Cranston go into the woods, and I considered this an excellent opportunity to talk with you alone.
That gun.
This gun will do you no harm if you're obedient. You and I are going for a little walk, Miss Lane, and you are going quietly.
Where are you taking me through these woods?
You'll soon learn. Here's our stopping place.
There's nothing here but trees and that big rock.
Yes, watch that rock.
Swinging out like a door.
It is a door to a very secret natural cave below. Ladies first, Miss Lane.
I won't go down to that darkness.
You need not go in darkness. We have electric light here. Step in, Miss Lane. I wish to close my bulky door.
No, I...
Do not try my patience. Go.
Oh.
Now, down these stairs. And you can see my little refuge.
Gibbering cries.
A little welcome for you.
These hideous things that make him behind that door.
Hideous things, so you saw the little creature that escaped tonight?
It pressed its awful face against the window. Don't make me look at it again.
You won't see anything to frighten you when I open the door. There's nothing in this chamber except those steel cabinets around the walls, that iron water pipe above, and this heavy rope that dangles from the pipe. You will find the rope of special interest. I call your attention to the snap hook on its loose end.
No, let me go.
As soon as I lock these handcuffs on your wrists behind your back like this,
No.
hook the rope to your cuffs like this. Now, I'll let you go. Nicely tethered.
What are you going to do to me?
I shall satisfy your curiosity about the gibbering things. You have seen but one. I have many such children.
Children?
Yes. I am their father, their creator. I am their God. I have discovered the secret of life.
Of life?
I have evolved a complex life form from the single cell. Nature required 1 billion years to do what I have done in 10. I am greater than nature.
You're a madman.
Am I? You shall see. The steel cabinets you see around these walls are really insulated, soundproof covers for my children's cages. This lever opens the apparent cabinets. Watch. Before you saw the handsomest of my little beauties. Now you can look at them again and 30 of his brothers. Hear them squeal their greetings to you.
No, let me out of here.
Do not be afraid. Their cages are strong. They cannot get at you now.
Please, they're so horrible.
Well, I admit that I have not as yet achieved perfection in their appearance, but I progress. Now, here is my first experiment. It resembles a shapeless sponge, but it's alive. It moves and breathes.
Oh, please.
And here is a little creature that lacks arms and legs. See it bounce its way about? Its brother in the next cage has twice the usual number of limbs. This one has 8 hands. That one has no eyes or ears. And there's one with no head. And here's one without a body.
Stop it.
But they're all alive, Miss Lane. All can move and fast. All have mouths and appetites, Miss Lane. For human blood. Their only diet.
Human blood.
Yes, I keep human cows, Miss Lane, and you are to become a human cow and feed my children.
Oh, no.
That is why you're tethered here. This chamber is their dining room. I shall pull a lever that opens their cages as I go out this door to safety. They're very greedy, but I will not let them drink too much of your blood, Miss Lane, for now you're a cow and valuable to me. I leave you now to pull the lever. Ah! My throat.
You feel the shadow's hands upon you, Sigurd.
The shadow.
Oh.
The shadow is a man would like to close his fingers tight about your neck. As a respecter of the law, he'll let you live.
Oh, Shadow.
Unlock your handcuffs, Sigurd.
Don't touch me again, I will.
Be quick.
There.
Oh, I'm free. I'm free and I can leave this room. Go where I won't see and hear those awful things.
Yes, go.
And I'll go with you out that door.
Sigurd!
The door is locked and closed upon you, Shadow. The lever that opens my children's cages is on this side of the door, and I release them now.
No!
My children do not have to see a man to find him, Shadow. Their greed for blood would lead them to you, and they are to have all your blood, Shadow. You will be dead before this door is opened. Dead! It is now half an hour since that door was closed upon our former friend, the Shadow. My children have killed strong men within 5 minutes, so I think it is time, Miss Lane, for us to view the remains, which will be visible, I imagine. But first, I shall reunite you with your aunt.
You have my aunt here?
Yes, unfortunately escaped and told me of her intention to notify the authorities. I was forced to add her to my herd of cows. That herd includes the itinerant lumberjacks and harvest hands who have disappeared in the haunted woods. When fools hear their screams of pain, they think they hear my little screech owl.
Oh, there's no word that fits you.
Before I can safely view the dead body of the Shadow, my children must be returned to their cages. And my cows take care of that. Your aunt's stall is behind this door.
Aunt Sue. Aunt Sue.
I will let her out.
Margot. Oh, Margot.
What a touching reunion. You shall see a great deal of each other from now on, for you will be stable together. My male cattle are in here. Come out, beasts, and don't forget that I hold the usual loaded revolver.
Oh, poor men.
Yes, my male cattle aren't as healthy-looking as you and your aunt, Miss Lane, but they have been here a long time.
They're walking skeletons.
They still manufacture blood. That's all that matters. Fall in line, beasts. You with them, female cattle.
No.
Fall in line.
Oh, come, Margot, come. There's nothing we can do.
You're learning fast, Miss Prentice. Now march, all of you, to the feeding room. You ought to have an easy time tonight. My children have been fed and well. You need only pick them up and return them to their cages.
Pick up those things?
Yes, Miss Lane, and tenderly. Unlock the door. Go in and do as I've told you. Now, you see how tame my cattle are, Miss Lane? You will soon be like them. Hurry in there. Get my pets behind their bars. I'm anxious to come in and pay my last respects.
Your children are in their cages, Master.
Now we shall see. I thought the Shadow would be visible in death. His mental power is gone, but I do not see him.
Can you feel him, Sigurd?
Ah!
Shadow.
Yes, I'm not an easy victim, Sigurd. Pick up that gun he dropped, Miss Lane.
Something we cannot see has got him. Give Sigurd to us.
Be back, you men. I know how you must hate this devil, but I promise you he'll get justice. Now, everyone leave this room. Everyone but Sigurd.
Everyone but me.
You're going to be left alone here. Alone as you've left the others.
No. No, do not put those handcuffs on me.
Oh, yes. Locked behind your back. Now,
No, not that tether rope. Do not hook me to that.
the way you fastened others.
Yes, we can do to him what
Now,
he's
get
done
out
to
of
us.
this room, you men. We're leaving Professor Sirgoff with his children.
We'll turn the vampires loose on him.
No, do not open those cages. Do not turn them loose on me, please, Shadow, please.
You're safe, Sirgoff. The cages won't be opened.
Did you say, Shadow, that those cages won't be opened? That Sirgoff is safe?
He's safe from those things he created. That room will be Sirgoff's prison until the police arrive to take him to another.
Police? Prison. Shadow, you promised us that devil would get justice.
He will, but the law must fix his punishment.
We've been Sirgoff's slaves. His cattle, those things he made have fastened on our flesh. They drank our blood.
We want no police. We want no law. We want no law. They have no punishment to fit that devil's crime.
We'll attend to Sirgoff.
And we are. You men have suffered here, but you're civilized men. You must abide by rules of order, not by instincts of revenge.
We're no longer men. We're cattle.
Sirgoff has made us beasts.
And there are many of us, Shadow. You are only one.
Keep away from that door.
We didn't want to open the door, Shadow. We only wanted to lock it.
And we have locked it. We have the key.
Pull the lever that opens those cages.
No.
You're too late, Shadow. Listen. Sirgoff's children move fast. They've already reached their father. We've given Sirgoff the justice he deserves.
Well, Margot, Sirgoff's cattle were too many and too quick. But Sirgoff won't put the state to any expense. Your aunt's safe in her home again. And his children...
Those men just trampled them after you finally forced that door. And I'm not sorry things happened as they did. Sirgoff was going to turn those gibbering things loose on me.
We did turn them loose on the Shadow.
Lamont, you haven't told me why the Shadow wasn't killed by those monsters.
Well, Sirgoff made a serious mistake. When he left other victims in that room, their hands had been secured behind their backs and fastened to the tether rope. The Shadow was free. One end of the tether rope was attached to an iron pipe near the ceiling. Well, he took a moment to loop the other end with its heavy hook over the pipe and fasten it. And seated in that swing, the Shadow was well above the reach of the little vampires.
When you were locked in that room, I was sure it meant your death.
One can never be sure of anything, Margot. You know, when I was invited to your Aunt Susan's, as I recall, I promised myself a quiet, restful weekend.
Yes, I remember.
Now let me introduce Blue Coal's distinguished heating expert, John Barclay.
Thank you, Ken Roberts, and good evening, friends. I'm glad to be back with you again. And this year, with fuel so vitally needed for the war effort, I hope to bring you special information that will help you to heat your home more efficiently and economically. Thousands of tons of coal can be conserved if everyone will give special thought to the efficient operation of their furnace. Operating a heating plant efficiently is easy. And if you will follow a few simple suggestions, you can not only save considerable fuel, but your home will be healthfully heated as well. A clean furnace is number one on the list of important things that will result in conserving fuel. So put your heating plant in good working order. It's easy to clean a furnace. For tools, all you need to do a good job is an inexpensive wire brush and a scraper. You can get these at any hardware store. Can of asbestos furnace cement. Have all soot and fly ash. Use the asbestos cement to seal up leaks around the smoke pipe where it enters into the chimney. Make sure that the dampers are in good working order and that all furnace doors fit tightly. Remember, a clean furnace conserves coal, gives you more heat for the fuel you burn, and will keep your family warm and healthful all winter long. I thank you.
The Shadow program is based on a story copyrighted by Street and Smith Publications. The characters, names, places, and plot are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Again next week, the Shadow will demonstrate that
the weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The Shadow knows.
next week, same time, same station, your friendly Blue Coal dealer brings you another strange and thrilling adventure in the Shadow's daring battle against the forces of evil. be sure to listen. This is Ken Roberts saying, keep the home fires burning with Blue Coal.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Do you believe in monsters? They exist, you know. The Irish giant in the Museum of Trinity College, Dublin. Dwarfs, which are stronger and live longer and usually have strong passions and acute intellect. The fabulous monsters of Guyana near Lake Parima, sketched in 1663 by Joost Segerman in his collection of voyages. Those are just a few examples which will lend credence to the story we're about to hear.
I saw it, Billy Lee. I saw it. I saw the thing.
Now, take it easy. You're shaking like an aspen leaf. How come you even went near Dead Lake? Well, you know better. Things disappear there. What got into you?
One of my heifers wandered away. I saw him grazing down toward the lake. I just plumb forgot about the stories and went after him. When I got within 100 yards of him, the heifer was on the shore, drinking. And that's when it came out of the water and grabbed him. The heifer disappeared. He bellowed, Billy Lee. It was horrible.
Our mystery drama, The Horror of Dead Lake, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Roy Windsor and stars William Prince and Gordon Gould. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Isn't it nice to know you're free? To see the things you want to see. To touch the heights you dare to reach. To know you're all that you can be.
You seem to be in a hurry, sir.
Yes, I am.
You are in a hurry?
Oh, yes.
Well, no doubt you're rushing down to buy a Buick Electra because you know that Electra has the kind of ride and comfort Buick's famous for.
That's right.
And because you know it's America's second largest selling full-size luxury car.
You got it.
So you're hurrying because you want to get there before the Electras are all gone.
That's very good. How did you know I was going to buy a Buick Electra?
Well, it was on the shopping list you dropped back there, you see. Dozen eggs, quart of milk, Buick Electra.
Son of a gun, I forgot the pistachio nuts.
That's not on the list.
Well, I forgot them anyhow.
Free spirit Buick on the wings of the wind. How it's gonna be your spirit's free.
The way you shop will never be the same again. Recently, it became more beautiful, more exciting when Marshall Field and Company and Lord & Taylor opened in the Atrium Mall of Water Tower Place. And beginning Monday, February 16th, you can take the shimmering glass elevators in the Grand Atrium to any of 7 fabulous levels where you'll discover more stores, boutiques, and services, famous names from Chicago, America, and around the world, who will be opening their doors. And in the weeks ahead, the Atrium Mall of Water Tower Place will become home to a spectacular new Drury Lane stage theater, 4-plit cinemas, and charming new restaurants for luncheons, snacks, and evening dining. It all begins next Monday at 10 a.m. at 835 North Michigan Avenue on the Magnificent Mile. Parking is available in the building with direct access to the Atrium Mall, Water Tower Place, the magnificent experience.
Since the earliest times, monstrosities have attracted attention and have engendered the cloying fear we experience in the presence of the unnatural. The Loch Ness Monster, for example. Is it fact or fiction? The search for it still goes on. Cyclops? The monster with one eye? Oh, there undoubtedly was such a creature because there still are. Really. At a point where the nose sticks out from the forehead, there's a single orbital cavity with an eye in it. Well, in this tale, we encounter another deviate from nature when we discover the hideous thing that inhabits the dead lake.
Claude,
Yes?
was it all right? Not too grim?
No, it was all right.
I know how much you loved your father.
Well, he lived a long life, and he didn't suffer. The lawyer went over things and assigned them to me. The savings, the old house, that kind of thing. It was sad, come to think of it. But it's over now. You know, Polly, there's something I never told you because I'd forgotten about it, and so had my dad, for that matter.
Oh? A castle in Spain? A map where the treasure is buried?
You know, you're not so far off at that. My dad left me 50 acres of land near a small town in Florida, Orisville.
50 acres?
Mm-hmm.
And with land down there selling for a fortune?
Well, not this land. There's something funny about it. A long time ago, back in the early part of the 18th century, a certain Silas Baxter, an ancestor of mine, was, I kid you not, a pirate.
Claude.
He must have run a pretty good ship, because when he left the sea, he bought those 50 acres and built himself a castle. He called it the Captain's Doubloon.
A castle?
Oh, not a great big one, but big enough. The history of the Captain's Doubloon has been handed down from one Baxter to another, and was among my father's papers.
I see.
What I've been left is the Captain's Doubloon in a state of ruin, the acreage, and something named Dead Lake.
Why?
Because nothing lives in it.
That's creepy.
My father never had any interest in the property. I don't know if he ever saw it. But we do own a ruined castle and 50 acres of land.
With a dead lake where nothing lives.
That's right.
Claude, we ought to sell it.
I think so, too.
You know, it's funny nobody has ever wanted to buy it.
Maybe they did. But my father never said anything about it to me.
Dead lake. Claude.
Yeah?
Let's go see it.
You mean it?
Sure. Florida's no big trip from Philadelphia. Can you get time off from your job?
I think so. I could take off Friday, and we could have most of Friday and the weekend. I can't promise anything, Polly. The Captain's Doubloon is a ruin. Maybe the acreage is worthless.
But what about Dead Lake? I'd like to know why it's dead. Wouldn't you?
Yes. Tell you what I'll do. I'll telephone the lawyer who settled my father's estate. Maybe he can give me the name of someone to see when we reach Orisville. I don't think Orisville's much more than a widening in the road.
I'm so excited. A deserted old castle, a dead lake. Makes chills run up and down my back.
Well, Professor Micah, and how are you, sir?
Quite well, I thank you. Here is my food list. Can you also obtain the chemicals I've written down here?
Oh, yes, sir. No problem. I'll have one of the boys drive over to Palatka. No, I got to pay him, of course.
I understand. I will give you these. I have before.
Yes, sir, you sure have. Doubloons. My goodness, what pretty coins.
Solid gold.
You mind if I ask you something, Professor? Johnny Reed was in here yesterday, and he's scared white. A heifer of his wandered down to the shore of Dead Lake, and Johnny said some kind of thing. Grabbed it and dragged it under the water. Johnny said it bellowed something terrible. Did you hear it? You know anything about it?
It is wise to stay away from the lake. I do not go near it. I remain in the castle and do my work.
Well, maybe not for long, Professor. You've been squatting there so long, I guess you feel you own the place. But the real owner's coming to Orisville Friday afternoon, tomorrow. A fellow named Baxter. Same as Captain Silas Baxter. who stole all them doubloons from the Spanish. Like these you just gave me.
I have found a few.
Mm-hmm. Where'll you go if Baxter tells you to get out?
I will have no choice. I would leave. He will discover that the property is worthless. When he goes home, I will return.
Maybe. You got this idea of developing the land and selling it for home sites.
You have tried to do that before, Mr. Billy Lee.
I sure did. Those persons I drove over to look at the land never did find their child.
Quicksand?
Not according to the sheriff and his men. They scoured and dredged the lake. All they found was some of the child's clothes.
Yes, regrettable. The lake is dangerous.
Why?
There are unknown things in nature. It is better to let them remain unknown. Now, I will return tonight for my supplies.
Oh, hello there, Professor.
Good morning.
I tell you, Billy Lee, he gives me the creeps.
He may be gone soon, Johnny.
Yeah? How come?
New owner's arriving tomorrow. Named Baxter.
I can't say I'll be sorry to see Professor Micah go. He's in league with the devil. You remember that parrot?
Oh, I sure do. Grew to have a wingspan of 10 feet. Vicious thing. I remember we all went out and gunned it down. A horrible thing.
Where did it come from? His experiments? That was just an ordinary little old parrot, no bigger than a crow. You saw what it became. Micah did that. He's always experimenting with something.
Look here.
More doubloons. Wonder how many he's got.
Just a few, he says.
Old Silas Baxter's supposed to have had thousands of them. But even if that old room's full of them, I wouldn't go near it with an army.
You gotten over your scare?
No, and I never will. That was the awfulest thing I ever saw, that poor heifer being pulled under the water by some thing.
Now, what did it look like?
What I saw of it was a kind of red color, round and fat, and it had horns kind of sticking out in front like feelers.
There ain't no such thing, Johnny.
Back up on that, Billy Lee. I saw the thing. You say the new owner's showing up tomorrow?
That's right. Him and his wife. Staying in one of my rooms upstairs.
You taking them over to their property?
Well, I expect so.
Then let me tell you, stay away from the lake and keep them away from it, too.
Lovely, Mr. Harrison.
Oh, Billy Lee. Oh, I'm pleased you like it, Mrs. Baxter.
It's fine. I like your store, too.
Oh, it ain't much. Just a general store. Got just about everything in it that folks around here need.
Well, it's very nice.
Not bad for a one-horse town. Horseville isn't much, but those of us who've been here all our lives, we like it. If you want excitement, there's Pulaski close by, and St. Augustine's only 40 miles away.
Nice country. We landed at St. Augustine and drove down. I enjoyed it.
There's lots of pine, isn't there?
Oh, sure is. Paper pulp. It's big business down there. And cattle. He's a rancher now. Hi, Johnny.
Oh.
Meet Mr. and Mrs. Baxter.
Hello.
Johnny Reed.
Howdy do.
Mr. Reed. How are you?
You really interested in the captain's doubloon, Mr. Baxter?
Well, I don't know. It's my property. I might want to sell it off or interest some developer. I should think it'll be worth quite a fair amount of money.
You look skeptical, Mr. Harrison. Why are you shaking your head?
No, don't go scaring him, Johnny.
That's just what I'm going to do. It's not fair to keep him ignorant.
Is it Dead Lake?
Now, how did you guess that, ma'am?
Well, the name. There's something spooky about a lake that's dead.
It's dead, all right, except for one thing. There's something in it. Something I saw with my own eyes, and it's really something terrible.
Oh, come on, Mr. Reed.
I don't blame you, Mr. Baxter, for looking at me as if I'm escaped from the mental home. But a few evenings ago, one of my herd, a nice little heifer, went to the edge of the water of Dead Lake, and some awful thing grabbed it and dragged it under.
A thing? What's a thing?
Nobody knows, Mr. Baxter, but Johnny saw something. And strange things have happened down there before. Oh, and another thing, Mr. Baxter. For over 30 years, a squatter's been living in the ruins of the castle. A man named Micah. He was a professor. I'll tell you about him when we drive out. Spoke to him yesterday morning and said he'd probably have to clear out. He agreed, but you'll meet him.
A professor? And he's a squatter? What does he do?
You'll excuse me for saying it, Miss Baxter, but I think he consorts with the devil.
Oh, that's a little hard to believe in this day, Mr. Harrison.
No, he's some kind of scientist. Always sending for chemicals to Palatka, to St. Augustine. He's, now what did he call himself? An something or other.
Embryologist?
What's that, Claude?
It's a branch of science concerned with the formation and development of the embryo. Teratology is the study of deviations from the normal.
By golly, that explains the parrot with the 10-foot wingspread.
What? It's the truth? I can swear to that, Mr. Baxter. Half the village went gunning for it. We shot it down.
Oh, it's not possible.
Yeah, neither is that thing that lives in Dead Lake.
What do we know about what exists at the bottom of the ocean? What prehistoric creatures live there, concealed from our sight and knowledge? Monsters? Probably. There still are phenomena which we have not fathomed. What is that thing at the bottom of Dead Lake? We will encounter it when I return with Act 2.
When you say bud, you said a lot of things nobody else can say. When you say bud, you burn as far as you can go to get the very best. When you say bud, you said the word that means you like to do it all. When you say bud, you say you care enough to only want the king of fear. There is no other one. There's only something left. Because the king of fear is leading all the rest. When you say bud, you said it all.
Anheuser-Busch St. Louis. All Chevrolets are created equal. The difference is Arnie Newsom. Take our fine one-owner trade-ins, for example. We sell thousands of them every year, and we call them our gold-bonded one-owner trades. Talk about quality. They're the next best thing to a new Chevrolet. We inspect and road test them and recondition them to run like new. We fix everything where necessary, at no cost to you. And that's a good feeling, to know that your dealer stands solidly in back of the fine product he represents. It costs us more, but we're fussy about quality. All Chevrolets are created equal. The difference is Arnie Newsom. Try us. Arnie Newsom Chevrolet. Open 7 days a week at 4849 North Broadway, 2 blocks west of Lakeshore Drive at Lawrence Avenue.
The subject is monsters. We seldom think about them, if we ever do, but there are monsters all the same. They are, in fact, studied in zoology under a special branch named tetralogy, concerned with deviations from the normal in the embryo. When deviations occur, the result can be a monster. Primitive man believed that a monster was the result of a woman's pact with Satan. Nonsense, of course. But the fact of the monster remains.
What beautiful little birds you are. Which one of you will it be today? I have grown attached to all of you, but it must eat. an immutable law of nature. One feeds upon another, and that is how I learn. And that is what I live for, to learn. The great plant must live, and it is a carnivore.
Bruin is right. The captain's doubloon isn't a castle, it's a heap of rubble. One turret sort of standing, the rest caved in.
The professor's at home. Sees smoke rising from the chimney.
Strange smell. Acrid.
It's the chemical. He's always experimenting with something.
Have you been here before, Billy Lee?
Oh, not to go inside. I've been around the grounds, but like the rest of us in Orrisville, I don't feel comfortable here.
Well, we've seen it, Polly. Maybe we should forget it and go home. That's what the dog thinks, don't you, Bing?
Well, we've come all the way from Philadelphia, Claude. We ought to meet this professor and see what it's like inside. And ask him about those doubloons he brings to Billy Lee for food.
What do you say, Billy Lee?
Well, I guess I don't have to say anything. There's the professor now. Afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon. This is Mr. Baxter.
That's right. This is Baxter. My dog, Bink.
How do you do?
Yes, a dog.
I'm the legal owner of all this property, Professor Micah.
I do not question it, Mr. Baxter. And I am an interloper.
If you want to put it that way, yes. So, when it's convenient to you...
Of course. I will gather my few possessions and leave.
You've been here 30 years?
Oh, longer than that. It is an isolated place. I do my work here, my experiments.
Like that monster parrot?
I told him about that, Professor. You remember how some of us in the village had done it down?
Yes, I have not forgotten. A pity.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, killing sheep and almost dragging off a child.
The destruction of a master's scientific achievement, a phenomenon, proof that experiments in tetralogy can produce new breeds of animals that could change the face of the earth.
I wonder if we might see the inside of the castle.
You are the owner.
Well, I don't want to inconvenience you.
It is no inconvenience, but I caution you, do not wander away alone. I have experiments in many stages of development. Some of them are dangerous. A Venus flytrap is one of them.
So I know about them. They eat flies. Interesting little plants. Carnivorous.
Follow me. It would be wise not to bring the dog.
I'll take him back to the car, Polly.
No, let me. No, come on, Binks. Hey, you folks get your fill of the castle. No, I'll be outside. Come on, Binks.
Oh, my goodness. What's that thing, Claude?
It looks like a huge sunflower plant. And look at those pouches at the end of its leaves. They're bigger than a pelican's pouch.
Much bigger and much more dangerous. It is a Venus flytrap.
It can't be. They're small.
But by controlling its growth from a seedling, I have created a new species. It is very powerful.
Look, Polly. It's leaning toward me.
And it's opening up. Claude.
Do not approach it, Mr. Baxter. If it should seize your arm...
Oh, that's horrible. Claude, stay back.
Well, that's the first thing that will go. I'll take an axe to it.
Let's get out of here, Claude.
You live here, Professor?
Yes, in the ruined tower. This is my plant room.
Is there a basement?
Yes, but except for me, the dungeon is unsafe.
You've got more things like this down there?
My experiments are varied.
Professor, please clear out as soon as you can and destroy these experiments of yours.
That's Binks. Claude, that's Binks. He sounds like he's being killed.
Mrs. Baxter, all right?
Yes, Billy Lee. Thank you.
Glad you're still open. What happened? I can see by your face.
Their dog.
What?
It wasn't anyone's fault, Billy Lee. Bink slipped his collar.
No. And
and ran loose.
Down the dead lake. I ran after him, but not in time. I saw it myself this time, Johnny. It rose up out of the water, a round, huge, slimy thing, and dragged the dog into the lake.
What is it? What is the thing?
I never saw anything like it in my life. I don't know what it is, but it's probably one of Micah's experiments.
We went there this afternoon. My wife and I went into Micah's room in the castle. And, Johnny, it made my hair stand on end. Bink, but the dog whined and wouldn't go with us. Billy Lee said he'd wait outside with the dog.
I was taking him back to the car. He fought the leash so hard, he slipped his collar, and he flew toward Dead Lake. Ran after him, but by the time I got within 50 yards of the shore, something had caught the dog and was dragging him under.
If I was you, Claude, I'd cut my losses and forget the place.
No, sir. I'm going to get rid of Micah and find out just what makes Dead Lake dead. There's something in it. You caught a glimpse of it. So did Billy Lee. A big, fat, slimy thing with horns. Now, what is it? I know a man who might know. A friend who's a zoologist at the University of Pennsylvania. I've telephoned him for help. He'll be here late tomorrow. Then we're going out and solve this filthy, hideous mystery. Now that you've met Dr. Petty, let's hear what he has to say. You're on, Joe.
I see everyone's well armed. Well, there's something in Dead Lake, Dr. Petty.
And if we catch sight of it, we're going to blow it to bits.
Binks with my dog. I'm going along. I'm not afraid, and I can handle a gun.
Well, all right.
My plan, for what it's worth, Joe, is for all of us to go out there now. It's 5 o'clock. We ought to get there in half an hour. Then you and I will go inside and find out if Professor Micah has cleared out. If he hasn't, I'll throw him out. Then we'll destroy that awful plant. Once Micah's gone, all of us will explore that dungeon. Maybe that's where he's got the thing. You got any idea of what it might be?
You described it as about 6 feet long, fat and slimy, with horns.
Colored, a reddish kind of color.
You know what it makes me think of? A giant snail.
But they don't eat flesh, Johnny.
Could it be a giant slug?
I don't think so. I don't like to speculate, Claude, but since you telephoned me yesterday, I've been doing some research, although I don't believe all this.
It's true, Dr. Petty.
As a scientist, it's hard for me to believe, but I accept what you've told me.
Why, Joe? What do you think it could be?
A member of the Hirudinai, which is a branch of the chitopod worms.
What? It's a worm?
No, Johnny, but it could be a monster leech.
One of those things that attaches itself to the skin.
Yes. And in Egypt and in the Near East, there's an aquatic leech that lives in streams and ponds and does extensive damage to horses and other baggage animals.
Leeches? You make my skin crawl, Joe.
Well, they've been used extensively in medicine. In 1832, France alone imported over 50 million of them for bloodletting.
And you think that's what the thing is that's in Dead Lake?
It's hard to say, Billy Lee, but you've described the leech. The red-colored body, its bloated appearance, the slimy look. Of course, the fall of a leech 5 or 6 feet long boggles my mind. I simply can't imagine it. But if that's what the thing is, it could kill anything. And once those enormous suckers have attached themselves to any blood animal, the animal would be dead in minutes.
Well, let's get started.
Yeah, we'll take my pickup truck. We've got an arsenal.
And dynamite.
Dynamite?
Sure. If we don't see the leech, maybe we can find where it lives. And that's when I blow up his cave. People around here have a score to settle with that monster.
I told you to get out, Professor Micah.
So you did. And I will leave now. I have not had time to...
Out.
You have a rifle and a shotgun. Why?
We think there's a monster leech in Dead Lake, and we intend to destroy it.
Fantastic.
I want you out of here.
I have packed what I can carry. The rest I leave to you in the name of science.
Get out, Professor.
That marvelous Venus flytrap.
I never saw anything like it, Claude. Look at those traps, undulating and stretching toward us.
He said it's powerful. That's the first thing we take care of. You have the shotgun, Joe.
Look at us, inching toward us.
I'll release the birds. They're what he fed to the plant.
Look at them go.
Joe, call the others, and we'll try the dungeon.
Well, come with me. We don't want to be separated.
You've got a point. What a devil's hole this is, Joe. Let's get the others.
Glad I brought the axe. Did you see that thing try to wind itself around me? Some kind of vine? Strong as wire.
It's just awful down here.
What's that over there, Claude? Shine your light.
A huge door.
Hinged with a drop lock.
Do you think...
Don't open it, Claude.
Mister, what's that?
Sounds like something breathing underwater. Wet, bubbly kind of breathing.
There's one way to stop that.
No, Claude, don't shoot. I've got a better idea. There is something behind that door. If it's the thing, the giant leech, you won't kill it with one shot.
Oh, what's your idea, Dutch Penny?
Well, that door must open into a tunnel, and the tunnel probably leads to the lake. Now, if we can trace the tunnel from above, on the ground, and see where it leads to, Johnny here can dynamite the entrance and block the thing in. That's when we'll have it trapped, and that's when we'll kill it.
Good idea. Everyone stick together, and we'll go back upstairs and out.
Oh, I never want to see this place again.
You'll be all right, Polly, when we get out into the air. Come on. Walk between Joe and me.
Is it possible? In nature, most things are. And nature, with a prod from an experimental scientist, has created a monster. A giant, predatory, hideous monster leech. I'll be back shortly with Act 3.
Allstate asks, do you own a small business? Go over these questions with your present group health and life insurance agent. If your agent doesn't say yes to every one, then...
Talk to the good hands people.
First question. Does your present major medical benefit keep on paying no matter how expensive the accident or illness becomes? If not...
Talk to the good hands people.
Is your present plan designed to pay up to 95% of hospital expenses? If not...
Talk to the good hands people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
See your Allstate agent to find out what an Allstate plan costs, what is and isn't covered, including benefit reductions and terms under which insurance continues in force. Allstate Insurance Companies, available in most states to businesses that qualify.
Say, did you know there's a way to get into Northwest Federal Savings before it's open? Well, the early bird knows. When you have savings business to take care of, the early bird walk-up service is ready to help you. 6 days a week, the early bird is at the Irving Park and Des Plaines Savings Centers from 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning. Come by before work, make deposits, make withdrawals, pick up traveler's checks on your way out of town, or cash your paycheck at your convenience. Northwest Federal wants to make it as easy as possible for you to save. An early bird walk-up service is just one of the convenient ways they've done that over the past 50 years. So drop by, early or late, with 63 hours of service a week. Irving Park west of Cicero, in Des Plaines, Norridge, and now Arlington Heights at Algonquin and Gulf Roads. What time? Anytime. It's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
This is WBBM, Chicago, News Radio 78. The time 11:05, 42 degrees in Midway. Humidity 68%. The wind south at 16 miles an hour.
Have you ever had a leech attach itself to your skin? It happens not infrequently in many freshwater lakes. They're small and they can be flipped off with a finger. But the experience makes one shudder. Imagine the horror, then, of speculating that what Professor Micah has bred, the thing that has made the dead lake dead, is a gargantuan leech.
I'll get the dynamite.
Hand me the rifle, Billy Lee.
Sure. I'll grab the shotgun. Oh, here's the other one for you, Dr. Petty.
Right.
Joe, let me carry it for Johnny. I'd appreciate it if you'd stay with Polly.
I'm all right, Claude, with just being in that filthy basement.
No way, Polly. You're going to stay by the truck and Joe.
Claude!
No, absolutely not. I mean it, Polly.
I think he's right, Mrs. Baxter. I tell you what. Why don't you swing the truck around and turn on the lights and shine them on the north side of the castle? The locked basement door's on that side.
Give us some light down to the shore, too.
All right, Polly. Come on, hop in.
Claude.
No, please don't argue. You stay with Joe. Ready, Johnny?
I'll lead the way. Keep your guns up. I'll be ready for anything.
Joe, I feel sick. If the thing is what you think it is.
Yeah, me too. Let me get the truck turned around.
Black as a tunnel.
I'll switch on the lights.
I see them, Claude and the others. The car lights do run down to Dead Lake. Isn't that an awful name for it?
It's dead, all right, if there's a giant leech in it.
Joe, look.
It's the professor. Now, what the
He's
devil?
returning to the castle, not through the front, but through the north side of it.
I wonder what he's up to.
He's disappeared now. Must be another entrance to the place.
If Johnny does blow up the tunnel and the professor's in that basement...
Claude ordered him out.
I know that. All the same, he is a human being, and...
I don't think he's a human being at all.
Shine your big torch over the lake, Johnny.
Shore cuts through the blackness all the way to the other side.
Johnny, look.
Something's moving just under the surface of the water. It's moving to the other side. Follow it with the torch.
Look at it. Just a little of its back is out of the water, like a whale.
Keep following it. I can hit it from here.
No, Claude, no. Let it go. When it returns from the other side of the lake.
Oh, no. That's a small deer over there. See? The thing is coming out of the water. Go fire a shot, Claude. It scared the deer. Look at that thing. It's half out of the water.
The deer got away.
Johnny, follow where the thing swims.
It's coming toward this side of the lake, a few 100 feet north of us. Come on.
No, hold it. If it does have a cave or a tunnel to a cave, we don't want to scare it off. Just watch it.
It didn't surface. And it's disappeared. Now, let's move.
All set, Johnny?
Yeah. Here goes.
Claude, run that torch along from where Johnny blew the entrance, back toward the castle. That's it. Look.
Yeah. The force of the explosion in the tunnel lifted the ground above the tunnel, and now we can see its path. It does go to the castle.
It goes to that barred door in the basement. We've got the thing trapped.
Maybe it's dead. That was a terrific blast.
But we got to make sure, Claude.
There's only one way to do that. We have to open that big barred door.
Now what, Joe?
I don't know. There was a big charge of dynamite. They must have found the tunnel.
What about the thing?
It's dead, probably. Just the force of the detonation could kill it, but I don't know. Look, they're coming back.
Maybe they'll tell us what happened.
There, that got their attention.
Is it dead? Claude? Is it dead?
I don't know. We hope the explosion caved in on the thing and killed it. But we don't know.
And there's only one way to find out. We have to go back into the castle.
Oh, no.
We have to, Polly.
You saw it?
Enough of it, Joe. It's a leech, all right. A monster leech.
How big, Claude?
At least 6 feet long. Round as a hippo and reddish in color. When it came out of the water, it writhed like a snake, and its blood-sucking cups, or whatever you want to call them, were bigger than $50. It's the most revolting creature I've ever seen. How in heaven's name did it ever come about?
Experimental breeding and crossbreeding. Professor Micah developed gigantism in some strain of leech until he achieved one with monster size.
But why would he want to do something like that?
All scientists, Billy Lee, are fascinated by the subject of life. How it can be controlled and developed.
He's in there, Claude. In the castle.
Micah?
That's right. The headlights from the truck picked him out just as he disappeared through some of those big stones on the north side.
Well, then, we may have killed him. The blast.
If that blast blew open that hinged door...
Come on. Let's see where he went in. We'll follow him.
Leave the dynamite detonating box here, Johnny. Grab this shotgun.
You told him to get out, Claude. Why would he want to come back?
Joe, I'm afraid.
Now, you stay here with me. There's nothing we can do to help.
But if something should happen to Claude, and it was my idea to come down here, he didn't want to. And now if something should happen...
That could be it. See where I'm shining the torch?
Yeah, it could be. Just about wide enough for a man to squeeze through.
All right. Follow me.
Hold it, Claude. You bring up the rear.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not going to have you risk your lives any more than you already have.
Billy and me have the shotguns. Much more effective close range. You bring up the rear with your rifle. Right, Billy Lee?
Right. I don't know what to expect, but whatever we find, it's bound to be close range. Now, let's go, Johnny.
This place is a house of horrors. Ought to be burned to the ground.
It will be, once we know that the monster leech is dead. It's Micah from that big room in the dungeon.
Have your gun cocked, Johnny, and go slow.
Look. Oh, good Lord.
The leech.
It's all over him. Move back, Johnny. Micah's dead. The leech is all over him.
Shoot, Johnny. Blood. All over.
Is it dead?
Don't go near it, Claude.
Some of the suckers are still working away.
We have to get Micah out from under.
He's dead, Claude. Let's get out of here. We can come back when it's daylight. Get Micah and hack that thing to pieces.
Joe, I can't stand it.
You just have to, Polly. We're not leaving this truck.
But those gunshots, what have they run into?
I can't guess.
You can, but you won't. What if that blast of dynamite blew out that hinge door? If the thing wasn't killed in the tunnel?
Hold it. They're coming out of the front of the castle. You see the flashlights?
They're safe. Oh, Joe, they're safe.
Are you all right, Polly?
Still feel a little faint.
When you saw Claude safe returning to the truck, you passed out.
I remember.
Joe was right. Professor Micah had developed a giant leech. It lived in a tunnel which ran from the shore of Dead Lake up to a cave near the castle. When Johnny set off that blast of dynamite, the tremendous repercussion broke the hinges of the door into the cave, and the leech got out. Micah was there in the room. He was probably stunned by the blast. And that's when the leech grabbed him. There was nothing we could do to save him.
It must have been awful.
It was a nightmare, Polly. We're returning there in the morning.
So am I.
Polly.
No, Claude. I got us into this, and I'm going to see what's in that room.
Listen to the birds.
Life has kind of returned to the captain's doubloon.
I don't feel much like going down into that basement again. And I'm not sure it's safe for Miss Baxter.
Don't you worry about me, Johnny. Now that I know the monster leech is dead, I'm not afraid.
All right. But let's go in through the front. Have we got everything? Lights, ropes?
And my shotgun, just in case.
And camera.
Watch your footing, Polly. And when we go down into the dungeon, stay between us.
Let me lead, Claude. I've got the gun.
There it is.
Oh, Claude.
Poor old Micah's under that thing.
Aim that big light right at it, Johnny.
It's incredible. It's 6 feet long and 4 feet thick.
Micah let out one scream, and then he was dead. Partly fright, maybe.
Keep the light trained on him, Johnny. We'll try to pull him free.
Let me take a few pictures first. No one's going to believe this horror.
Claude, what about Professor Micah? What happens to him now?
We give him a decent burial. And Joe wants to find out, if he can, why Micah did all this.
Billy and I searched the castle. In the one tower, still partly standing, Micah had a room and his books and a small laboratory.
Yeah, there were a lot of papers and chemicals.
But the real discovery was this diary. It goes back 40 years, back to 1931, in fact. Under an October date. Listen to what Micah wrote.
Today, I was discharged as an assistant professor of zoology because I was consulted by a friend whose son was certain to die from acute nephritis. I urged the man's doctor to attempt a transplant. The doctor was repelled by my suggestion. I explained that in zoology, I had conducted many experiments in which I have saved small animals with various organ defects. My suggestion was rejected, and so was I. I have left. I intend to continue my experiments somehow, somewhere, south probably, where at least I will have the climate in my favor. And one day, I am convinced the name of Micah will be honored for his proof that life can be prolonged and improved.
There it is. And a lot more. Poor man. He wasn't really mad. He just felt rejected. And because of his bitterness, his experiments became grotesque. Through that huge parrot, for example, he intended to prove to skeptics that man's magic, science, could reshape mankind and his environment. He was an intellect, and far ahead of the time in which he lived.
And the giant leech?
Like the parrot, another proof of what Micah maintained, control of life. And both got out of hand. I'm going to publish Micah's papers, Claude.
And I'm going to burn the captain's doubloon to the ground, make that land habitable again, and stock Dead Lake with fish. That horror is gone. Nature, with a little help from me, will restore it.
Nightmares are made of such stuff as a dream about a monster leech, because the word makes the skin crawl. And when in sleep a fiend or incubus oppresses you, wake up. It will go away. But was it real or just a nightmare? I'll be back in a moment.
Give your hand to a friend. Give your heart to your love. But give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
The most successful selling cold medicine in the world is a little capsule. It's Contact. It contains no ingredients for aches and fever, no cough medicine. It gives you longer relief per dose than any pill, any liquid. Full-time 24-hour relief of your sneezing, drips, and congestion. Contact. Its tiny time pills contain ingredients to work up to 12 hours. That's longer relief per dose from those symptoms than any pill, any liquid. So, give your cold to Contact. All day, all night. Full time.
Give your cold to Contact. Give your cold to Contact. Give your cold.
Use only as directed.
It is foolish, I think, to dismiss anything. Was it conceivable years back to imagine men walking on the moon? Is the notion of a huge killer shark unimaginable? We know a great deal about Earth, something about the universe, but isn't anything or almost anything conceivable? Monsters are, and our story's giant leech was one of them. Our cast included William Prince, Gordon Gould, Ann Shepard, George Petrie, and Gil Mack. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Who is it? I can't see over the back of the seat.
I don't know about the passengers, but it's the stewardess who was up front.
How did she get to the rear of the plane?
I don't know.
That's it.
Stewardess?
In a moment, Mr. Morris. Miss Newman in S1 and Mr. Downing in S2. Make them secure.
Stewardess, I demand to be released and let off at this stop.
Thank you, boys. As soon as you're out, we'll button up and take off.
Stewardess! Do you hear me?
Didn't you hear? Why won't you listen?
We are in the takeoff run. Please do not smoke. And make sure that all safety belts are fastened. Not release until a light goes on.
Did not release. Relax. Who has a chance?
Can't you stop it, Mr. Moss? Some way.
I guess I can't, Tim.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Allstate Insurance Companies and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
This is WBBM, Chicago, News Radio 78. The time 11:22, 42 degrees at Midway.
Well, that's the show for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. And remember, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/terror1970. Or you can find me on Instagram at Radio Show Nerd. I also have a YouTube channel, Terror Radio. Please check it out. Subscribe, like, and share the videos. It will be highly appreciated. In fact, I have featured on there the 1954 unaired pilot episode of The Shadow. Shameless plug there. Again, this is your host, Keith, better known as the Radio Show Nerd, signing off.